Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is breaking down Real Housewives of Orange County Season 18 Reunion Part 1. So, first, I'm going to talk about how Tamra was basically a raging narcissist throughout this entire Part 1. I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose, but I'm just going to call it like I see it, very narcissistic. Then I will go into talking about the other girls during the reunion and any other tea or stories that we want to cover. So before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. It is a free way to support the show and push this out to more people. Also, if you are watching live, be sure to say hi in the chat box. Let's have a fun, lively discussion. It's Friday night. Let's have some fun. And if you're watching on the replay, definitely comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts. If you agree, if you disagree, I want to know. Put it down below. So, with that, let's dive right on in. So, let's first break down 11 ways that Tamra Judge used toxic narcissism against Shannon Beador during the first part of the reunion. Okay? We're going to get into it. The first way is that she became the victim when she was the abuser. So, as we have seen Tamra throughout her entire run and span of the OC, she has been mean, evil, psychotic, narcissistic, and just a terror overall. But in particular, this last season of the OC, she was just awful. I mean, awful to Shannon Beador. Like, it's not question. It's like there's no question. There's no whose side are you on. Unequivocally, Tamra was just a horrible human being to Shannon. She was the abuser in this situation. The first thing out of her mouth at the reunion is, yeah, I want to explain how you hurt me. I was hurt too. Um, what? I'm confused. What exactly does Tamra Judge have a damn thing to be hurt by? What did Shannon Beador do to you? Like, I'll wait. Please tell me. What did Shannon Beador do to Tamra Judge at all? She's only ever been a really good friend to Tamra. Anytime they've beef, it's been Tamra going after Shannon. Whether it's because Shannon's with John Jansen, Shannon's drinking, this, that, and the third. Like, Shannon's done, to be honest with you, Shannon's really done nothing to nobody except for maybe Gina with the DUI stuff. We'll get into that in a little bit. But other than that, what does Shannon do to anybody? Shannon just, hangs out. Anyway, but that's the narcissistic trait number one. They become the victim when in reality, they are the abuser. It's a way to manipulate you, it's a way to shift blame, and it's a way to get you to soothe them. So now all of a sudden it's like, well, how did I hurt you? Like, are you okay? Well, I'm sorry for my part, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, the shift comes from how you are hurt and what they did to you to how they are hurt and what you did to them. And then it becomes you apologizing, you explaining yourself, you trying to win them back. It's highly manipulative, it's emotional abuse, and it's a top narcissistic trait. So off the bat, this chick was whack, crazy, and wild for saying you hurt me too. How? Like, please tell us how. Narc trait number two, they weaponize their trauma or their healing journey. I'm looking at you, Whitney Rose of Salt Lake City. Again, out the gate. Andy Cohen's like, oh, Tamra said that she's going to therapy. How's that going? And then Tamra with her fake acting ass self. Oh, Andy, thanks for saying that. Like, that whole conversation wasn't staged and scripted. Like, come on. Like, oh, I can't believe you're talking about me going to therapy. Like, what? Tamra, stop. What they do is, and this is what Tamra was doing, they use the fact that they have had trauma or they're going to therapy or they're on their healing journey as a way to disempower you from holding them accountable. Well, I'm healing. I'm on my journey. I'm in therapy. So whatever I did, I have trauma. It's not my fault. I'm on my journey. Blah, blah, blah. These are my feelings. Again, it's a way to take the importance off of your pain and what they've done to you and make it about them again. Now, all of a sudden, well, you're in therapy. I guess I have to forgive you. Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. I guess, you had trauma. I understand. No, just because somebody is in therapy does not give them the right to abuse you. Just because somebody has trauma doesn't give them the right to abuse you. Just because somebody is on their healing journey does not give them a right to abuse you. And it also does not give them a get out of jail free card. You're still accountable for your actions. You're still accountable for how you treat people. So you can't use that as buffer. But again, that's another manipulation tactic. And Andy Cohen needs to shut the hell up. And so does Emily. Emily is horrible, by the way. I'm just gonna keep it all the way 100. Emily is a bulldog and she is horrible. Like, Emily, I want you to shut up all day long, and I personally want you fired. You're not the host of The Real Housewives of Orange County Reunion, but you think you are and you act like you are. I digress a little bit. I'll talk more about Emily when we talk about the girls. But girl, bye. I say that because first, the reason why I'm telling Andy Cohen to shut up is because when Shannon said, and this goes to NARC reason number 2, how they weaponize their trauma and their healing and their journey. Shannon's like, well, I'm in therapy. And I loved how she was like, I'm in therapy too. I was like, yes, Shannon, you go, girl. And a part of my therapy is creating healthy boundaries, and having healthy boundaries is not being in relationships with toxic people, which includes friendships. And Andy's like, well, I think Tamra is saying that she wants to take the toxicity out of being friends. No, wrong. Don't enable the narc to continue to hurt people. Your response should have been, and I will tell you what the response should have been, because it should have been the same thing to Emily too. And this is why I said Emily is also horrible. Later on in the reunion, Emily's like, oh, well, Shannon, you apologized to Gina because you said horrible things to her and she forgave you and you guys are good. Like, can't you do the same for Tamra? Listen up, dum-dum. Apples and oranges. The isolated situation of Shannon and Gina, when Gina had her DUI situation and she was going to get arrested, and the kids and this, that, and the third, and what Shannon was saying about that, is a completely isolated situation, very, very different than the systematic takedown evilness, abusive, horrible acting evilness that Tamra Judge has systematically done to Shannon Beador for an entire season and beyond. It's way deeper than that isolated situation between Gina and Shannon. And Gina and Shannon, they have their little moments, they go back and forth, but it's never been that super deep. I get when Shannon was like, oh, you have a DUI, that's horrible, and the kids, and I know they had their whole moment. Shannon took accountability and really changed course, took accountability for what she did, and then changed her behavior. That is why Gina forgave her. Apples to oranges. Now, Andy Cohen shut up and Emily shut up. When someone, Shannon, finally gets emotionally and mentally strong enough to stand up to the narcissist who is abusing them emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, whatever the case may be, Tamra, again, I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose. I'm not saying she is a narcissist because I'm not a doctor, I don't know. I'm just saying I'm observing her behavior, and this is my observation and in Tamra's word, it's my opinion. So I am not diagnosing. I am not a doctor. I'm not saying that by any means. But when someone who is mean to you systematically and tears you down and verbally abuses you over and over again, the answer is not, oh, well, that person said that they're going to try to do better, so you should just forgive them. No, they should have said, instead of saying, Shannon, can you forgive Tamra? They should have said, Tamra, can you respect Shannon's boundaries and leave her the hell alone? Why didn't Andy or Emily check Tamra? Why are you trying to convince Shannon to let the devil back into your life, to let the snake back into your garden? No. What you should have said was, Tamra, you need to respect Shannon's boundaries because she's clearly communicating to you, I am done with your bullshit. I'm done with your abuse. I'm done with your shenanigans, and I don't want you in my life, point blank, period. Hard stop. They should have said, Tamra, if you're really apologetic, if you really changed, if you're really on your healing journey, are you adult enough to respect the boundary that Shannon just created for you? But no, they got to go after Shannon. So shut up, Andy. Shut up, Emily. Okay. Narc trait number 3. They only acknowledge that there is actually an issue between the two of you. And again, I said acknowledge, not take accountability, because those are two different things. Tamra 100% acknowledged that there was issues going on between the two of them, but she never actually took accountability for what she did. What the narc does is they acknowledge that there is an issue, but only if it serves them, only if it's self-serving. Tamra is only acknowledging that there is a problem because she wants to save her job. Because the show did not go the way she thought it was going to go. She thought that the edit, that the fan response was going to be a Shannon hate train. She thought she had this silver bullet because Shannon got a DUI, and so the entire world was going to turn on Shannon, and she was going to be on the right side of history, and she was going to wave her flag. I'm not going to enable you, blah, 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 blah. Girl, sit down. Have rural seats. But because the world, us, the audience, the collective consciousness, we're not idiots, we're not stupid. We have compassion, we have common sense, we're human beings. And we can understand that, yes, Shannon made a mistake. She's a human being, but she's acknowledged it. She's been accountable for it, and she's changing her behavior. And so because Tamra didn't get the response she thought she got, and because her job is probably on the line, that's why she's out here doing the absolute most, talking about, oh, I'm on the spectrum now, and this, that, and the third, just being completely out of pocket, trying to save her job. That is why now all of a sudden, yeah, I did go too far, and like, it's toxic, and blah, 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 blah. She's only acknowledging this because she's trying to save herself, not because she actually cares about the effect it had on Shannon, not because she actually recognizes that she's the person in the wrong. She's only doing it to serve herself. And my number 11 reason, through Tamra's words herself, will prove that, but we'll get there. Okay. Narc reason number 4. They blame others for their own failures or shortcomings. Okay. Did you guys catch in the reunion how Shannon says, once you came back to the show, our friendship never got back on track. We were never as close as we were. And then we see the foreshadowing for the reunion where Shannon's like, you think I took your job 10 years ago, but like, I'm still here. Tamra clearly has held on to resentment to Shannon because Shannon got to stay on the show when her and Vicky were put on pause. I think that Tamra never, quote, forgave Shannon for that, even though there's nothing to forgive. It's not Shannon's fault that Tamra got fired. That's not Shannon's fault. I think Tamra is the type of person who thought that she was better than Shannon. That, Shannon was beneath her. Lowly Shannon. Shannon drinks, and Shannon's divorced, and David is cheating on her, and Shannon's this, and Shannon's that. I think that Tamra thought she was better than her. And I think her ego took a massive hit when Bravo said bye-bye to her, but they kept Shannon. And I think that she's held a grudge, and she's extremely vindictive. And I think that is the true root of her vitriol and her anger towards Shannon, is that instead of saying, hey, maybe I got fired because of me, because whatever job I was doing wasn't good enough or wasn't up to snuff or whatever the case may be, instead of looking in the mirror and being like, well, what did I do to contribute to myself being fired? No, it can't be me. It has to be somebody else's fault, because the narc can't take accountability for when things don't go their way. It's never their fault. Their ego won't allow it. So they have to blame somebody else. And I think that Tamra has been harboring a deep resentment towards Shannon because Bravo kept Shannon when Tamra and Vicky got fired. And it foreshadowed that during this reunion when she was like, once you came back to the show, there was a difference and we really haven't been that close. Of course you haven't been that close because now Tamra sees you as a threat, whereas before she thought that you were beneath her. But when she got fired and you didn't, all of a sudden that dynamic changed. And I think she's been holding on to that. And I think that's the true root of her anger towards Shannon and why she wants to take Shannon down. Okay. Narc reason number 5 is there vindictive. Oh wait, that was number 4. Okay, so number 4 and number 5, I think that was the same, like blaming people and being vindictive. Let's move on to 6. Okay. Narc quality number 6 is that they keep score. It is a transactional friendship. We could do a drinking game, no pun intended, for every time Tamara said during this reunion episode, I was there for you, I had your back, I was there, you were calling me, you were doing this, you were doing that. You know what I mean? We could really play a drinking game, take a shot every time. Oh, sorry, my mic was different. Take a shot every single time you hear Tamara judge. Throw the fact that she was a minimalist friend, like that's the bare minimum, that you talk to somebody, that you answer their phone call, that you were the bare minimum level of friend. But that's what narcissistic people do. They keep score. I did this for you back in 1975. Now that it's 2024, you owe me your firstborn child. Get the hell out of here. That is emotionally abusive. That is literally emotionally abusive. When you especially in I know they're not related, but like in family dynamics, when a mother, if a mother or a sibling is like, or a parent rather, or a father is like, well, I did this for you when you were a child and now you owe me, that's emotional abuse. Same thing applies with friendship dynamics, with interpersonal relationships. It's like emotional hostage. You're not indebted to anybody for anything. And so she keeps throwing it in her face. And the truth is, I believe Shannon. Shannon was like, you weren't really there for me like that. Like, you were off filming Traitors when I got the DUI. And we hadn't even really been friends like that ever since you came back to the show because you were jealous that I got to stay on the show when you got fired. So again, Tamra is crazy. And another reason why this is narc abuse, let's pretend Tamara's telling the truth for shits and gigs. Let's pretend she's telling the truth and she was so there for Shannon. That doesn't justify your anger towards her. If my friend got a DUI and I was there for my friend and I helped them through it, why would I be angry at them? That's what I don't understand is like the anger that Tamra has, the vitriol. It's deeper than that. And it's very emotionally manipulative to be like, well, I answered your phone call when you called me 3 years ago. So now you owe me and now I'm mad at you because you're living your life. How dare you? How dare you do what you want to do and not do what I want you to do because I was a friend to you 5 years ago. You see how crazy that is? How cuckoo that is? It's insane. It's insane. So let's move on to narc reason number 7. Okay, so narcissists like to insert themselves into your friendships in order to get someone who would be your ally against you. And that's exactly what Tamara did during this reunion part 1 between Shannon and Gina. So out of one side of her mouth, Tamara's like, I want us to work on our friendship. I want to get back on track, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to therapy. Like, girl, shut up, girl, bye. So in one side of her mouth, she's like, yeah, I was too hard on you and I want to be friends. Then literally 2 seconds later, because the question was about, they were talking about how Gina forgave Shannon And Gina was like, well, Shannon, once she got her DUI, her perspective changed. She really owned it. She apologized. She has changed behavior. So, like, of course, I'm going to forgive her. Like, I made that same mistake and I want that same forgiveness. Literally, Tamra did not skip a beat, and she already had a pre-planned comeback trying to get Shannon and Gina to break up their alliance, and was like, well, at BravoCon, Shannon saw Gina, and then afterwards Heather had like a champagne brunch, and she didn't apologize there. She waited to apologize on camera. Like, Tamra thought she was really doing her big one with that. Like, she really thought she was exposing Shannon, and Gina was going to be like, no, I hate you, Shannon, and I'm friends with you, Tamra. I'm obsessed with the fact that Gina is not taking the bait when it comes to Tamra. I am obsessed with the fact that Gina is seeing Tamra for exactly who she is, and she's not turning her back on Shannon. Gina was like, actually, like, I wasn't talking to her at that time. So she didn't even have the opportunity to apologize to me. So, like, don't even try it, Tamra. So again, the narc tendencies. One side of your mouth, you're looking at me being like, I want to be your friend. I want to make this better. The other side of your mouth, you're trying to sabotage my friendships. You're trying to sabotage my reputation. You're trying to make me look bad. You're trying to get Gina against me if I'm Shannon. And this is all in part one of the reunion. Not to mention the entire season. Not to mention seasons after season. This all happened in 45 minutes. Absolutely crazy. And it sends me. Okay. So narc reason number 8. Very similar to number 7. Smear campaigns. Okay. The narcissist, they will do a smear campaign behind your back, sometimes to your face, but definitely to everybody in their circle, in your circle, to the stranger, to the milkmaid, to whoever it is. They will try to malign your character. They will call you a liar. They will lie on you. They want to take away your credibility. So when you tell the truth about them, people won't believe you and people will think that you're the crazy one. This is what Tamra did when she kept saying, and Shannon brought it up on the reunion, how Tamra was saying that Shannon was drinking at the rehab facility. And Shannon was like, I was there for 30 days. I got the help I needed. They did random drug and alcohol testing, so I wasn't drinking. And Tamra was like, no, you were. You called me drunk and blah, 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 blah. That is so wrong on so many levels. Number one, it's a smear campaign. You're going around telling everybody that she's supposed to be in rehab and she's drinking. That's ruining her reputation. That's ruining her credibility. And you're trying to get people not to like her, and you're trying to get people on your side. Number 2, that could jeopardize whatever plea deal or whatever deal that Shannon has. I'm pretty sure she would probably get something way worse if she was caught drinking during her rehab program that was court ordered because she got a freaking DUI. So not only are you trying to get other people to not believe her, you're trying to discredit her, you're trying to malign her reputation and her character, but that could have legal consequences. I'm sure there's stipulations in her plea deal about not a window period of not drinking or completing your court-ordered programs. It's giving Mia vibes from Real Housewives of Potomac, how Mia's trying to get Karen to admit fault in the DUI when she's facing jail time. It's like you're playing with somebody's freedom. You're playing with somebody's life. Like, this isn't a game. This isn't like, oh my God, you wore my dress, or like, oh my God, you ate my cake. No, this is like, you're going to go to jail, the real jail, the clink clink. So it's beyond. So I'm so proud of Shannon for being like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, period. And I hope she stays 10 toes down on business. I hope she does not fold. I hope she stays firm in her boundary because Tamra is a very dangerous person. Okay. Narc reason number 9. They cannot give a genuine apology. I think they spent about 15 minutes of a 45-minute segment trying to get Tamra to say, I'm sorry, without saying, but. She couldn't do it. Oh yeah, I hurt you, Shannon, but you hurt me too. But you did this. But this is that's not an apology. An apology is I am sorry for what I did. Period. Not because, not but this, not and you. Period. That is an apology. That is ownership. That is accountability. But Tamra is incapable of it. She literally could not. And this is the sickest part. I think in her own mind, like she couldn't even get out of her own way. Like I don't even think she could give a genuine apology if she actually wanted to, because I just don't think she's built that way. Like I think there's like a ticky boom. And I'm not talking about being on the spectrum or anything like that, because I personally think that that was so disgusting how she said, "Oh, I did one session of therapy and I'm on the spectrum and I lack empathy and trauma." Like it was so disgusting and it was so disrespectful. So shout out to anybody who is on the spectrum or anybody who is dealing with their own trauma or whatever the case may be. You are not alone. We love you. We are here for you. You are included. And don't listen to her. She's wackadoodle. And just shout out to everybody going through it, whatever the case may be. We love you. But yeah, not having the ability to apologize. She could not apologize to Shannon. And I think another reason why she couldn't apologize to Shannon, because she's not sorry. She genuinely sees herself as the victim, and she cannot bring herself to apologize because she still thinks Shannon owes her an apology. An apology for what? Like, I can't name one thing Shannon has actually done to Tamra. I can't. Like, it's insane. Like, I can't. Okay. Narc reason number 10. They use extremes, and I'll explain what that means, to gaslight you and to manipulate you. So by extremes, it's either all or nothing, right? And I'll tell you exactly when Tamra did this. So when Shannon's talking up to Tamra and she's like, "Look, our friendship is toxic and I'm creating boundaries for myself. I'm in therapy. I don't want to do this anymore. You trash me the entire season. Like, this isn't okay." And Tamra says to her, "Oh, so you're saying our entire friendship is toxic?" That right there is manipulation one-on-one using extremes, because Shannon's talking about very specific things. This season, you did this to me. This is how it's happened. Now it's become a pattern. Boom, boom, boom. When a narc uses extremes, like think about like if you're say like you're arguing with like a boyfriend or a girlfriend about something in particular, like, "Oh, you were flirting with this girl tonight or something and now this is whatever." And they're like, "Oh, well, you think our entire relationship is trash? Like, what about the good times? What about this?" They make it about the entire thing in order to gaslight you into thinking, "Well, no, like our entire relationship isn't bad. No, our entire friendship isn't bad. Well, there are really good times. Well, see, you're overreacting. See, you're being too sensitive." It's a way to make you question your feelings, to make you think you're overreacting, to make you think you're being too overly sensitive, because nothing is all bad and nothing is all good. So when they say, like, when Tamara's like, "Oh, so our entire friendship is toxic," that's very manipulative, because then it makes a person, "Well, no, not the entire friendship. I just mean this." Okay, well, maybe, all right, well, maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. It makes you start to question yourself. It makes you start to think that you're the one who's overreacting because, well, the entire friendship isn't that. And that's why I love Shannon. And this is another sign that Shannon really is doing the work, and that she has a phenomenal therapist, because she did not take that bait. She said, "Yeah, I do think our entire friendship has been toxic. And I'm going to tell you why." Boom, 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 boom. Especially after when you came back to the show. Because I think that is the true fight that Shannon and Tamra is having has nothing to do with her DUI. Nothing at all. And my reason number 11 that I'm about to talk about, using Tamra's own words, I think pretty much proves it. I think it all has to do with the fact that Tamra is still pissed off and vengeful and resentful that she got fired and Shannon got to stay. I think that is the fight that these two women have really been having. I don't think Shannon understood that until later on, because Tamara is making it about the DUI. But I think that's the real core fight that these two women are having. And that's why Shannon says, oh, you think I replaced you 10 years ago? Well, I'm still here. She's either talking to Heather or she's talking to Tamra, because that's a preview. I hope it's Tamra. But in this segment, she was talking to Tamara directly when she said, when you came back to the show, our friendship wasn't, the same. We were never close after that. So that 100%, she was talking to Tamara about that. And I think that's the true reason why. Yes, Tamara is awful, and she's been awful to a lot of people at a lot of different times, but I think she's deeply insecure. But I think when it comes to Shannon in particular, I think that's the core issue she has with her. It's her own ego, her own narcissism, all of that. And so, narc reason number 11. When someone is in a fight or an argument and they purposely say the one thing that they know is going to hurt you to your core, that is a sign of a horrible, horrible narc. And Tamara says this in her own words. It's around the 9 minute and 30 seconds to about 10-minute mark, in between that like 30-second window of the reunion part 1, where they're talking about how, oh, Tamra, you can't bully Shannon into being sober. You can't bully her into not drinking. Like, do you think you went too hard? Like, she says she's working on herself, blah, 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 blah. And Tamara goes, yeah, well, I say that out of anger. These are her words. She said, I say it out of anger because I know that's going to hurt her the most in the argument. So you sat there and you admitted that you have all of this anger, and the only reason why you bring up her drinking and her DUIs and all of this stuff is not because you're actually concerned about her the way you've been lying and fronting, but because you're angry and you're trying to hurt her because you want to win the argument. And quite frankly, you're arguing with yourself, because half the time Shannon is like, what? And then she gets upset and then she leaves, and you're arguing with yourself, or you're picking fights. That right there to me just proved everything. No, she said it herself. She said, yeah, I say it out of anger, and I know it's going to hurt her the most, and I want to win the argument. She says it around the 10-minute mark on Peacock, at least. It's around the 9-minute to 10-minute mark. Okay. I was going to do a video of it, but you know how they are with copyrights, and I'm not even trying to get them mad at me. But go back and watch that. She says that in her own words. So right there, she is saying, I am angry at Shannon, and I am using the DUI and I'm using the drinking as a way to hurt her and cut her down so I can win in the arguments, because I know that is what is going to hurt her the most. That's what Tamra herself said. She didn't say, I say it when I get heated out of concern. I'm worried she's going to hurt herself. I'm worried she's going to hurt somebody else. I'm a concerned friend. No, she said, I'm pissed off and I want to hurt her and I want to win the argument. That's why I say it. And I think that was one of the most truthful things Tamra Judge has ever said. She is a deeply disturbed, angry person. And it's cliche, but hurt people hurt people. And she takes out her anger and she takes out her pain and she projects it on other people. We're talking about Shannon in this moment, but she did it to Jen. She's done it to Vicky. She's done it to Heather. She's done it to Gina. She's done it to everybody. She's horrible. But there you have it. Those are my 11 ways that Tamra Judge used toxic narcissism against Shannon Beador in the reunion part 1. So stick around because I'm going to get into the other ladies on the reunion, but I want to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about Tamra? What do you think about Shannon? Should Tamra come back, or does she need to be put on pause again? And if you were Shannon, where would you stand with Tamra? Would you be friends again, or would you stand 10 toes down on business and keep her out of your life? So as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's talk about the other ladies